Welcome to Illuminating Catholics, podcast of the Diocese of Sioux City. I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese. Together with Carmen Bauer of the Faith Formation Office, we will shed light upon topics of faith in the modern church. Our guests include Catholic clergy, religious sisters, and other experts in their fields to help us understand what's happening in the church today. We will explore issues, even the tough ones, and to find answers to common questions about Catholicism. Thank you for joining us for today's Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church.
Welcome back to the Illuminating Catholics podcast. I am Carmen Bauer, Director of Faith Formation for the Diocese of Sioux City.
And I'm Dawn Prosser, Director of Communications for the Diocese.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode. Thanks to you and our awesome guests, we are excited to announce over 27,000 episode downloads since we first dropped in late November 2024. How exciting, and praise God for all the great conversations that we've had, and we hope that they've enlightened you as well. Speaking of great guests, we have Rawson, Executive Director and co-founder of Agape Community Services, in the studio today. You may have heard this name in the news recently, as Agape recognizes struggling families hurt by addiction, mental illness, or incarceration in our region, and has a vision to provide strength and stability by helping men become strong Christian leaders. Agape points out that if the man is saved and stable, 85 to 93% of women and children will follow. Rachelle will share more with us about how Agape Community Services will work. So welcome, Rachelle.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're grateful that you were able to carve out some time for us. We know you are super busy promoting the cause, and as you'll hear in our conversation, it's going great. So people may not know who you are. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and a bit of your background?
Yeah, my name is Rawson. Sometimes you might hear me be referred to as Shelly. I am a wife to a man they call Brad the Dad, and a mama of 6 kids ranging from ages 24 all the way down to 4. I'm a co-founder and CEO of Agape Community Services, and this has been about 12 and a half years of praying. My background is I've worked at a Safe Place. I've worked in the juvenile justice system with Siouxland Youth for Christ. And who do I work for? God, the creator of the universe. That's my boss. Yeah, I know. It's so good. It's my boss.
How about that? Before we get into some more of the nitty-gritty details, we were just talking before we started recording that you have built this. Like you said, I've been praying on it 12 some years, built it from the ground up single-handedly. So why Agape? Why did you want to create this program?
Really, I just said yes. God asked me. I also am in recovery myself for 12 and a half years. And after many years ago, after a divorce, I fell into addiction for a time, which ended up leading me into some pretty abusive relationships, which ended me in federal prison. And it was while I was in federal prison that I was in this program called RDAP. And I knew Jesus before I went to prison. And then when I was there, I would spend probably about 12 hours a day in the Word, and ended up in the RDAP program. And I said, God, this is such a good program. You should really open this in Sioux City, but with you. And then I felt like he said, you should do it. And I argued, of course. And then he reminded me of every Bible character ever, Moses, Nehemiah, Gideon, David, and over prayer and fasting and confirmation, which is another story in itself. Yeah, it was confirmed and been praying ever since. Got out, developed a board, and here we are, 12 years later or so, getting started.
And so things are rolling.
Yeah.
Well, we're so excited to hear more. So let's start with the facilities. So as we understand, the groundwork is already started. So can you share with us what the facility will be like and what's included in that?
So glad you asked. So, yeah, we own 40 acres of land over by the new jail. And in 2.5 years, the Lord has brought us 40 acres of land, which was $710,000, $500,000 from a private donor, and 210 of a forgivable loan from the city that we got. And then for our building, about $4.2 million and $750 pledged towards first year's budget. Our building is 24,000 square feet, and we have several different components that are different than any other around here. And our mission, we're starting with men. We're taking men is to put them into households as husbands, fathers, and leaders, end absenteeism, and restore families. We have 65 beds inpatient. We will serve the pre and post incarcerated, addicted, homelessness, criminal thinking, mental health. We are able to serve all. And we have several different components with cognitive behavioral therapy from the RDAP program, and the things that you learn in that are the 8 attitudes to success: willingness, humility, open-mindedness, and gratitude. You learn the 5 rules to rational thinking. If your goal is to be a dad, it's not rational to go out and disappear for weeks at a time. If your goal is to be a husband, it's not rational to not be a provider. And you also learn the thinking errors that led you into your criminal thinking, homelessness, addiction, or struggles to begin with. You really get to the root of the trauma, learn how to live with others, learn just how to communicate appropriately, and then receive and give feedback. And then, of course, we have the faith-based component, and that particular program reduces the recidivism rate by 60%. Wow. And when I did the research, the other 40% that didn't make it, they didn't know the Lord. And as you know, a faith-based program has an 85% success rate. And we know that Jesus is the answer. Something that is a little bit more unique to our program is it's faith not forced. You, just like any church or anywhere, you do not have to be a Christian to enter, and it's not a requirement of graduation. But we are hoping that it is so contagious, and it is a culture that we are providing that people will be like, I noticed the change in my neighbor Dave. I'm going to give this worship thing a go. I'm going to check out this Jesus guy. And so we have the faith-based curriculum. We also have a huge piece is service. So our metric is pro-social leadership, which means to be for the community, a part of the community, to give back to the community. We think that the metric is set too low, that getting people sober or getting them to take medicine or even a house is not enough. God designed people for purpose, and we want to help people step into their identity, their calling. And our 3 words that describe is identity, leadership, and legacy. And so we have 15 church partnerships and counting, way more with your guys' partnership now. Hey. So exciting. Yes. Thank you, Team Jesus, and nonprofits in the city. And so in helping people to develop deep roots outside of the community while practicing inside, we will be serving. God designed us to serve. It creates oxytocin, which, it makes everybody the happy hormone. And it also helps people recognize they belong, that they are welcome, that they can hold their head high. And so, you have Joe, greeting at your church. And when he stops greeting, you would be like, well, where's Joe? And you give him a call, and now he feels called and a part of something greater than himself. We also have a family room where the men are going to have overnight supervised visits with their children. We're going to have daddy-daughter dances. And then another one of my favorite components is, what does the nonprofit always rely on? Money.
Yes.
Right. Money. And I have paid attention in our community. We have the most nonprofits per capita, and I have really enjoyed fundraising because I know it's a blessing and you get to bring everybody in. But I do not want to be a fundraiser for bottom line budget all the time. I do not want to constantly be coming back. And so because our metric is leadership and we believe in the value of hard work, we have micro business models where the men get to work, pay for the gap in their services where insurance won't pay, and then leave with first month's rent and deposit in their pocket. And our micro businesses are food, like the pre-packaged, healthy, fresh, clean meals, and then power washing. And our next thing that we're going to build is affordable living complex housing on our 40 acres of land, so we can
That's right. You have a lot of space.
Yes, we have a lot of space. Praise God. When we first found out we were going to get 40 acres, I'm thinking like 5 acres. I don't. God's like, nope, I'm going to give you 40 so that you can plan for teens, women, just a whole campus. But then the cool thing about the affordable living complex is that money can go back and pour into Agape, and there will be like rules and guidelines and helping to, then they will be mentors. The other piece that we have is a therapeutic community, which has a 75% success rate where peers hold each other accountable. It's based on a mentor system. The phase coming in is little brothers, the middle phase is big brothers, and then you can be elevated to the last 3 months, which is senior guides. And the senior guides pour into the big brothers pour into the little brothers. So they're learning to be a family and holding each other accountable for the different thinking errors while they're in our programming, learning how to be a family. And
So looking, at a man who might come to Agape, what does that look like, from the first day to the end? Like what, I guess on a day-to-day, how do you walk him through all of those services that you provide? Do you have a starting point and then it grows, the community aspect?
So when somebody, this is something also that's unique about our programming, when we have identified that a man's coming, we know they're coming. So let's say Jason checks in and we all are prepared and we're like, Jason, you made it. And we're going to be cheering him on so that immediately that level of shame and fear gets off of him. We're already going to know what his favorite meal is. And all the other men in there will treat him like a king and serve him his favorite meal. And then after that, he will go into the serving. And then before he leaves, he will get served one last meal. That's just the first, the food part. Because our model is based on servant leadership, the new guys will eat first in the line, although our living quarters are a little different. So you come in, you have open bays, you have to have some grit, also more eyes on people. And then as you level up each 3 months, or as you get to different leadership positions, you get smaller rooms, you get less beds and a little bit more privileges there, but also knowing now you're a leader. And so your job is to pour in to the rest of your teammates that are coming through. Every day we wake up, we have worship. We play games because Jesus in recovery is a party. And the Jesus people are fun. And then there are lots of like little leadership tasks designed throughout our program. So let's say the night before our morning meeting, somebody would have to research news, weather, and sports. And every day when we have our morning meeting, they would have to, the person who did that would stand on stage in front of 65 of their peers and present the local news, weather, and sports. And so that way, for the first time, people are, what? Like, this is going on around me. This is are happening in our local community, and they are thinking outside of themselves. People of homelessness, addiction, criminal thinking errors are considered to be antisocial, which is very me-focused. What can you do for me? And we want to teach the opposite, which is how can we help? What is going on around us? How do we give back? And so we have the morning meeting, and then the people who were pulled up the day before. So let's say that we're in line together, and Roger, we saw him budging in line, and he was struggling with entitlement. His peer, Jeff, would have to pull him aside and say, hey, Roger, I saw you struggling in line, budging in line, struggling with entitlement. And how do I know? Because I've struggled with this. And what I've done to work on it is I play the tape through. I think, how does this affect my community? I recognize I'm not above the laws and the rules. And then if they want to put the biblical concept in, what does Jesus say? He came to serve, not to be served. And so then at the morning meeting, Roger would have to stand on stage in front of all of his peers and say, hey, my name is Roger. I got pulled up for entitlement. This is what it looks like, and this is what I'm doing to work on it. And it's not to shame him. It's because what is put into the light, the darkness no longer has a hold of. It's because he's done things like maybe had affordable housing and trashed the last 3 places, or he abused his wife. And so when his son comes to say, Dad, every time I had football, I would look in the stands and you weren't there. Or his daughter says, Dad, when I had homecoming, all I wanted was my dad to walk me out to my date, and and you weren't there. He has to be able to get big shoulders and learn how to receive feedback, give feedback, take accountability, and say, you know what, you're right. I did do that, and this is what I'm doing to work on it. And by doing this process for 9 to 12 months where peers hold each other accountable, and it really is a holistic effect covering every single aspect of it, not only will it help put men into households as husbands, fathers, but leaders. And then also not just help them get employment, that's the easy part, it's keeping it that is the hard part. People of addiction, people in general, can struggle with LFT, which is low frustration tolerance. And so they get the job and their boss says, hey, will you grill that steak a little darker, or clean the toilet a little better, or maybe change the email up. You know, they feel frustrated and then go to the victim mindset, drop all the F-bombs, and then cuss their boss out, and then they've lost their job and their boss is the problem. And so this really helps people to have healthy relationships, communicate properly, and take full accountability while also changing the world. Like, our clients that are coming through are not even called clients, they're called difference makers, because we're speaking that life over them from the very beginning. And we will also serve in our recovery cafe, which is small group circles, men and women. And then we are also starting some outpatient services here in probably October at the Peace Reformed Church. They're allowing us to use their Sunday school classrooms just to start getting our culture developed and starting on a smaller scale some services before our building is complete. Yep, June of 27. So
you had mentioned we actually visited with Rachelle about a month ago, and just to get some more information. And Stormy Poss from the diocese is on your board, and it seems like they come from a wide variety of backgrounds and experiences. Do you want to just share a little bit who all is involved with you?
Yeah, so we have Pastor Dan Bittinger, who is on the County of Supervisors, and he's also the executive director at Siouxland Youth for Christ. We have Heidi Day, who is, she was one of my very first yeses. She is going to be a nurse practitioner. She's over, her and her husband own Meyer Towing. She has Dirty Sue. She was Mrs. Iowa. She just has a lot of skills. And we have Greg Clark, who he's our treasurer. He's a finance guy. And then we have Pastor Christopher Stagg. We have Doug Kenyon as our board president. We have Cindy Nelson. You might know her. She has her master's in social work, and she owned Hawk's Coffee Shop. And New Alans and Stormy Poss, just a wide variety of different churches in the community. We wanted to bring a body of believers together. And, of course, we want to serve everybody coming through. And so we are in a time of transition, and maybe even as some people are going to be stepping off, new people are going to be stepping on. We're working on committees, like starting our finance committee and our fundraising committee, our licensing committee, and are looking to essentially for new board members of different business brain brilliance, essentially. And so if you're hearing that, maybe you want to apply.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes to your website, and that would get them
my phone number's on there, and then
okay.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, if people are feeling called for that, we'll make sure that we make that connection easy for them. So I know groundwork has happened. So what's the current status of your building and the projected completion, roughly?
So with having 40 acres, you have a big site. Our dirt guy, who's amazing, says the thing about dirt is it's never where it's supposed to be. And our dirt work is complete. Our utilities are laid. We have our road and our parking lot laid. We have the footings laid, and the elevator shaft is built. And they're just plugging away. It projected, which Dan is very good at his timelines. He's known for that, is to be June of 27. And we're currently working with a consultant and helping us get our licenses. And that's also a whole nother wheelhouse. And then we'll also be launching, our micro businesses probably sometime before the building's even complete. So that's another wheel in progress.
I bet you've learned a lot of new skills and new worlds.
I never thought that I would be so passionate about architectural work before, or know things about construction, or I mean, yeah, it's been so fun to learn. I also have gone to school from Colorado Christian University for nonprofit management.
Okay.
And the very cool thing about that is I've gotten to use the real life project of Agape. I'm like, oh my gosh, we started a board and now I have to like know what I'm doing. And yeah. And so it's been so phenomenal to use the real life project and my professors, to really hone down our metrics. Like, our metrics are not even sobriety. We have a social worker that's going to follow the people for 5 years. And we're going to be giving surveys to, their churches, their employers, their families. Are they volunteering and giving back to the community? Are they going to their kids' football games? Are they not just getting a job, but are they being elevated at it? And so, but I got to learn all of those things in school, and grant writing to board, how to manage a board, just all of it. And I'm giving a plug for Colorado Christian University. Thank you. Yeah.
That sounds like an amazing curriculum, and you're getting to use all of it and so much more. There's so many balls in the air to juggle, but
it's quite impressive.
Yes, you're doing it well, and you're doing a lot of press too, which we know, and you do a great job with that too.
With a great team, and I pray a lot. So when it's open, you will not say that's my friend Rachelle Rawson. You'll say, yeah, that has to be God. I'm not kidding you. We pray about it, and God does it. I am nothing but dust. It is 100% the favor of the Lord. So yeah,
you are His instrument. So when we visited, like I said, it was about a month ago, you had just over $4 million in gifts and pledges for Agape. How much do you have left, and where are all the gifts coming from? And I know you've got all sorts of sources.
So we were at about out of the $6 million for the building at 4.2, but the problem is that we just keep spending money, and we had to hire consultants and for getting our licenses and all of that. So that has taken away. Sure. And I have a salary now, and I have a team. Finally I have a teammate, which I'm so grateful for, and they have salary. So we're still putting it back up to just to be on the safe side, to about needing $2 million. But we do have 750 pledged towards first year's budget. Empirical Foods is doing their golf tournament for us coming up, and we're super excited about that and so grateful. It's been phenomenal to see how many people have come together in that alone. And and we have our men's conference, which will be done by the time this airs, but we have about 200 men showing up at that, and that's also a fundraiser. We're going to have Plant Bingo coming up in September, talking about partnering with our churches and maybe having a daddy-daughter dance in February as a fundraiser, and then our gala April 3rd to hopefully seal the deal. But those funding sources, it is so wide and far. It is not just, really a lot of people outside of the faith community are even funding this. We did get a $2 million check from legislation earmarked to us. I had one meeting with Director Garcia and Director Marissa, which is the head of Health and Human Services and Mental Health, and was not asking for money. And then a few months later, we got a $2 million check in the mail that we didn't ask for and we didn't apply for. And we were the only faith-based agency and the only one not open. How cool is that? That's completely God.
It shows you've got your ducks in a row.
So, yeah, well.
Definitely have your ducks in a row. So obviously cash is something that is needed. So people listening, and we know we have people from kind of all over that do listen to the podcast. And if they want to participate in any way and help men and families in need, what ways would you recommend that they might be able to help?
That's so. Definitely we are at a time of money. We need money. Sure. And they could definitely look at our website, reach out there, give me a phone call. I'm very relational, although you may be behind the scenes thinking I do not want a relationship. But just kidding. Meaning, we don't just want to take, we also want to give. And it isn't us. Even somebody brought together a raffle basket the other day for the golf tournament, and they were like, "You're doing great work." And I'm like, "No, we are doing great work together. You're a part of this too." So there's no gift too small. We even had some kids that did a lemonade stand for us, and they had a goal of $500. And I was like, I was thinking that was ambitious.
Yeah.
But they ended up raising like 1,200, and then Empirical Foods is matching it, which is super cool. And I had kids that saved up their allowance for a year for us, these young men. We've had my favorite, $20 givers a month. We have monthly givers. So, I mean, you may be thinking, oh, I don't have $2 million, but it really all adds up. We need all the churches, all the businesses, all people, because really addiction and mental health and absenteeism affects everybody. Our Woodbury County in itself is the second highest for single parent rate. We are the fifth highest for addiction, second highest to send people off to prison. We are the sixth highest for foster care, and the ninth highest for bankruptcy. And also there are some major fatherhood stats out there that talks about like the lack of a father. I mean, I think it like increases the chance of 75% to go to prison. I don't have all that data in my head, but if you Christopher Stagg does, and it is like, wow, and increasing chances for murders and sexual assaults. And it is super important to raise up families, and that's by starting with the men. We'll be helping the women and children. So we need all hands on deck.
And I think it's fair to say that not just Woodbury County, but throughout our region, these
Yes.
are real problems.
They are.
Happening in small towns. You think your town's small, you don't have problems.
And actually, it's the rural communities that data shows are the highest and the biggest lack of services, and people afraid to like come out. And we do offer short-term and long-term solutions, but our curriculum and our programming is very different, very evidence-based, using the Change Company. I mean, it has been a well researched, like I was very comfortable doing what I was doing, and I'm not trying to put together another program to put another program together, but we will be serving the tri-state area and making the community better together.
That's what I love about it, is that it's not just, oh, we're going to, like you said earlier in the episode, not just get men sober, but really developing the whole man, and so that they can be contributing members of society, which we all want for our sons, our brothers, our husbands, fathers, uncles. I think we can all relate to that. And it's just, to me, again, talking to you again today, fascinating to think about just really turning someone's life around, much less 65 for 9 months or however long they stay.
And generations.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, like I have
the
goosebumps.
impact.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it is we are breaking the generational curses that continue.
Amen.
And yeah, like that I like I'm full of goosebumps. But there are two types of change. There's one, we're not creating dependency. That's another thing that we're not doing. But there's internal change and there's external change. External change says, I will be in this program, or I will be on probation, and I will act right for a time. But the moment I'm out of it, or the moment you're not looking, I'm back to my old ways. Internal change is what we believe comes through Christ, is transformation. And, we believe it's Jesus plus tools. Renew your mind. How do you renew your mind? We're going to help you do that. Forgive. How do you forgive? And really get to the root cause of the problem and walk through that in the highest of evidence-based models for the holistic. So internal change is what we are aiming for. And I'm very serious about our culture and about our metrics. So
It sounds awesome. It's awesome. Thank you for what you're all doing with God's guidance and your board and all the people volunteering. It's just really wonderful. So looking forward to your growth and watching your building go up and watching what happens with Agape.
Yeah, we thank you. We have a really great team. I have an Emily, who's my first employee, and she is amazing and wonderful. We have Ben, who's doing the Recovery Cafe small group model, which are available now. If anybody wants to join that too, feel free to reach out in any way. And we are better together. We need all hands on deck to serve families, women, children, and men. So it's been an honor. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing so much. So once again, Rachelle Rawson is the Executive Director and co-founder of Agape Community Services, which will serve men from around our area, helping them following incarceration and addiction, ultimately strengthening families and our communities. So thank you for coming and sharing the Agape story with us. And I hope that in the future we can reconnect and hear how it is all going.
I cannot wait to tell you this. If you want to come again and hear Jesus stories, the stories in the story, that was just the framework.
Those miracles along the way.
Oh man,
praise God.
Yes, praise God.
And thank you all for listening to today's Illuminating Catholics as we shine a light on the upcoming Agape Community Services project. New episodes drop each Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts, the Diocese of Sioux City YouTube channel, or at lumenmedia.org.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Illuminating Catholics, shedding light to understand the modern church. Follow us for more episodes on topics of the Catholic faith. For more diocesan news, visit lumenmedia.org.